You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
What's up, Internet world? This is the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast with a Beefberg Beef Driver Beefcast for all you beefomaniacs out there in the Beefiverse. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on another contaminated edition of CoronaCast. We're going to talk about wrestling and probably some other stupid shit. It's going to be mediocre as always, but hey, you've got nothing better to do because you're quarantined. So strap your headphones on and get ready for some ear porn because here it comes. I am one of your illustrious four hosts, Alec Ransom, along with Beef the Legend, Tiger Bomb Tom, and the best damn Cruiserweight champ there ever was, Poot the Bard. We're going to go ahead and kick this mother off real fast with a thank you out there to Casual Gaming Dad and Casual Gaming Dad's Corner. Check him out on the internet. Google him. You'll find him. He ain't hard to find. He's not a ninja. He ain't trying to hide. He's out there. His shit's going to be easily accessible and entertaining. So freaking do it. You have no excuse anymore. You're quarantined. Get yourself some gaming entertainment. Also, Sean Tischler, he brings you IWC Clearfield. Maybe it's going to happen in April. Maybe it's not. Fingers are crossed, though. So, now that that's out of the way, the podcast has begun. And if you three gentlemen would indulge me for a quick $5, I'd like to have a rant. Can I have a rant?
I have a rant, but first, can we go ahead and round of applause Ransom for that intro, please?
Don't applaud that. It was mediocre at best.
That was great. You're
Listen,
dude. You kill the intros. You always kill the intros.
Advocate.
I know my
take
worth.
my word for it. Take my word for it, Advocate. That was killer.
Listen, I know my worth, and I'll take a $20 gift card to Arby's. But yeah, would you permit me a rant?
Yes, go.
Can I have a rant?
Always.
Can I have that? Excellent. All right, I'm going to have a rant. So, as the three of you know, and the two of you that listen, maybe, I don't know. Since January, I have taken a big hiatus off of the old Forcebork for my own sanity. Just a nice little break. I popped in once to besmirch one of Beef's posts because, you know, that's what I like to do with my spare time. But other than that, I've been pretty much off of Facebook. Well, earlier today, I couldn't sleep last night. I got up real early in the morning before my alarm went off, and I was bored. So I decided to pop on Facebook. Let me tell you guys this. Facebook is the worst place ever. Ever. Digitally, physically, mentally, emotionally, it is the worst place that has ever existed. Iraq and Iran, North Korea is better than Facebook. The coronavirus, the swine flu, SARS, bird flu, H1N1, rickets. They're all better than Facebook. I'd rather have all those diseases at one time and have Facebook not exist. It is that terrible of a place. There is nothing like a good pandemic to bring out the fucking expert in everybody. Everybody's a fucking expert. Everybody's a goddamn doctor now. Everybody's an expert. Everybody's got the knowledge. Everybody's a doctor. Everybody is also a fucking political correspondent. You log on to Facebook, and I challenge you not to find an expert in the coronavirus and an expert in politics. Fucking everybody. It's not that bad. You can go out. It'll be fine. Stay inside. Quarantine yourself. Don't fucking leave your house. You're going to get it if you breathe the outside air. Don't even look outside because you'll be fucking getting it. Shut up. You're all idiots. You all know bullshit. And I'll tell you why you all know bullshit, because the experts don't know bullshit. But good God almighty, everyone on fucking Facebook is an expert. Don't tell me what to do with my life. I'm not going to go to a beach and party. But if I want to take my children over to my parents' house because all they do is either stay at their house or go to the grocery store, there are people condemning other people. Don't leave your house. Don't see your relatives. Don't look at your friends. Don't wave to your neighbors. Holy shit. I cannot wait for this corona thing to be over so all the experts can shut the hell up and go back to the whatever the fuck they did before this corona outbreak happened. If people are worried about losing income, you shouldn't. Because the expert knowledge that exists on Facebook, you should all be fucking millionaires. Because you know everything, and you apparently all have doctorates. I can't stand Facebook and the people that are on there who are knowledgeable in everything. Rant over. I hate people. I'm hoping the population gets thinned with this coronavirus, because then maybe we won't have so many experts and fucking political correspondents in the world.
There's
talk
the
wrestling.
heel. There's the heel that we know and love.
That's not a heel at all. That's a realist. That's a
You ain't wrong.
realistic statement. Everybody on fucking Facebook knows fucking everything about this coronavirus.
Buddy,
It's
I
a
gotta tell you,
fever.
I'm-
It's a sore throat. It's a cough. You don't have to have any of those symptoms. You could just have the poops. Maybe you just have a headache. Oh, maybe you just blah, 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 blah. How do you know all this? The experts don't even know all this. But by God Almighty, everyone on Facebook knows. We should have had a cure for cancer by now with all of the knowledge spreading across this social media platform. Every disease in the world should have been cured by now because of the amount of experts that are on fucking social media. Jeez.
I gotta tell you, buddy, I'm worried about you, not because of the coronavirus, but because of the cornet virus. Because you're starting to say your fuckers a little differently, and it's
That's what I was
making me a
thinking
little
too.
worried.
I'm telling you, man, like, holy
These
crap.
fucking Facebook people fucking coming at me.
Motherfucking-
Nah.
If my children weren't asleep in my house this morning, I would have been straight corneted out of my mind this morning. I would have been, motherfucker, I fucking kill you, I kill you, motherfucker. I would have been
You would've gone
full-blown
full
Cornet
Beaker.
Beaker mode. Hardcore. Like, I can't freaking do it. I can't do it anymore. I can't stand it. Holy shit.
I think
Also, my friend, real quick, Poot,
yes.
you're right. Facebook's awful, but for God's sake, stay off of Twitter, because Twitter
Oh, that's worse.
is
Oh,
way fucking
The
worse.
I
troglodytes.
don't understand it. I don't understand how we have so many experts. Jeez. Everyone's an expert on everything.
did you know if you don't go to college and you don't go in debt, you immediately become an expert on goddamn everything?
Holy crap, I'm telling you. If I knew it was this easy to be a doctor and have a doctorate and have all this medical knowledge, damn, I wouldn't have wasted 4 years of my life. I would have went straight to Facebook University and Twitter college.
TCU?
Oh,
Twitter
my
College
mother.
University?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no college on the hill. Mother loving. I can't
So-
stand it. Ugh.
Now, if I may, can I do a an actual like radio thing?
Yeah.
All right. The views and opinion of Alec Ransom do not reflect that of the P3 podcast crew, employees, or incorporated with in perpetuity to other official. My objection, Your Honor. I
Sustained.
abstain.
No,
There.
bullshit.
No, this is
Bullshit.
This is
I
my
support.
own
I
freaking-
support him. I
Ugh.
support him. I'm right there with you, Ransom.
Ransom,
and the more that you
Ransom,
read, the
Ransom, you-
angrier you get.
Ransom, you have the full support of Beef. How does that feel?
Yeah, I feel my blood pressure rising.
Underwhelming as usual.
I think my
Wow.
cholesterol's gone up.
Says
Wow,
no,
that's hurtful. I have supported that guy for how long have I known you? 20
You've
years.
stolen my Capri Suns. You
I
kicked me
never.
while I was sleeping.
I did that.
Wow, that was a,
You broke his
stole
couch.
my Capri
You broke my
Suns.
couch.
That was an accident because I'm a hefty individual. That's not.
Took his jab.
Look, that was my fault for buying sheep-ass furniture. I'll fess up to that one. That was
I still
shoddy
say-
craftsmanship.
I still say Jim Bain took your fucking Capri Sun because it wasn't me, man.
Yeah, I don't.
Fuck you, Jim Bain. I don't know.
I don't trust you at all,
Who's Jim
Beef. I
Bain?
I don't know, but fuck him anyways because he took the Capri Sun.
I don't feel bad at all about stealing your sweatpants now. I really don't.
All right, so
Wow.
did you guys know this was a wrestling podcast? Hey, Beef.
Yeah.
Hey,
You've,
speaking of a wrestling podcast, did Triple H get demoted?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that? What is that? I heard about
He
that.
was-
Somebody
he was-
enlighten me.
Reassigned. He was the the executive vice president in charge of talent, I believe, or the EVP, and now he's something different, and I don't remember exactly what it was. But basically, I don't think he's in charge of talent relations anymore. Oh, he's in charge of like the globalization. He's like the globalization specialist. Because fucking NXT and NXT UK are a fucking hit.
And that's a demotion?
Well,
in the eyes of Vince McMahon, yes, and also in the sense of probably within their own personal corporate structure. Probably.
Look, I just used the word demotion because I think, and I don't know, maybe it was clickbait, but I think I saw like a headline somewhere, or a news story or something, that says Triple H was demoted, and I didn't really look into it too much. I didn't have a whole lot of time, but maybe it wasn't demotion. Maybe it was just
Well, so the internet smarks, it's the fucking ceiling is falling, the roof is falling, the fucking sky is falling because Triple H may or may not any longer be in charge of NXT. Oh my God, what if Vince gets his creepy old man hands on those wrestlers? Oh, it's going to be the worst thing ever. Oh my God, but we need Triple H. Ah!
Oh my.
Nobody fucking knows anything about the way that the fucking corporate hierarchy or the structure works. Yeah, you know what? Maybe Triple H isn't involved in the fucking talent relations anymore. But, NXT is his fucking baby. He's not going anywhere. The NXT will always be a Triple H product. Even when Vince fucking candies his head in a fucking jar and continues to run Raw and SmackDown for the next 300 years, Triple H is always going to be an NXT guy. So, he could take up all the mantles he wants. He ain't losing that.
All right, so he was reassigned. He wasn't technically or necessarily demoted.
Well, no. And I think they actually considered a promotion, but like I said, internet smarks, just like the internet doctors out there, wrestling fans are basic. Wrestling internet fans are basically, the writers and producers. They're way worse than these wrestling fans, man. These wrestling fans, like us, for example, could write a way better show on a way stricter budget and push the right people at the right times to make everything get fucking Super Bowl ratings every week.
You're right. I don't get paid a goddamn thing for all the editing I do.
I love you, Poot.
I love you guys, too.
I pay you in hugs.
Just how my actual day job pays me.
No. Hey, at least you have a day job right now.
Listen, I don't want to hear it, Captain Unemployment. I'm joking. Don't take that personally. It's an absolute joke. I feel bad for you because you enjoy your job. I can tell. Like, we've never sat down and talked about it, but I can tell you enjoy your job, and I know. I mean, I'm going to say this, though, Tom. Your streams, top-notch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I try.
Well, I mean, they always are, but, you're like, well, what else do I have to do? And you dive into it. Dude, your streams are boss.
Dude, let me a little aside here since we're gonna, kind of half breaking kayfabe. Listen, I don't know how I managed to do this, and I don't know how I'm alive after yesterday.
Right.
Well, okay, so it's well documented. There you go. I dive into the Lolo games quite a bit, and I'm pretty proficient Pretty proficient. I was playing The Adventures of Lolo 3 yesterday and still didn't finish the game. I've beaten it before, keep in mind, okay? I've beaten all the games before.
Right.
I played Lolo 3 for 7.5 goddamn hours yesterday.
Wow.
And didn't beat it. I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Dude,
make you take a step back.
Intense.
Yeah.
You ever I feel like, though, as an experienced gamer, you need that moment in time because you lose it. You know what I mean? Like, over time, you kind of learn how video games work, and you kind of go along, and you're like, okay, I know how this works. Oh, okay, I know how this... Like, every once in a while, you need a game to hold you up to where you just question legit everything you're doing ever.
Yeah.
You need that.
But the thing is like the mistakes I was making, like the parts I was getting stuck on, it was all like one little thing. I was like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do in this level, but then it was just like getting the execution of it. Or I was like, I missed like one little detail where I'm like, if you don't do this, you can't beat the fucking level at all, because Lolo 3 is a goddamn nightmare compared to the first two. The first one's a cake. The first one's a cakewalk. The second one, yeah, the second one's a little bit more difficult. The third one, fuck you.
I'm just happy that watching you play Mega Man 7, I'm happy to know that there's somebody else out there that dies in that game as much as I do.
Yeah, that was another one that I wasn't exactly thrilled about how that stream went that day, but you know what? It's humbling because
that game is the worst.
For as many times as I run through Super Metroid and just bend it over and make it my bitch, you know, I gotta have a couple hangups, and you know, I know some people, some different streamers out there who like, who may not like, you know, if they do really shitty on a game or something like that, like, I won't even save that stream or whatever. I'm like, nah, you're getting the real deal. You're getting the ups and the downs, because there's gonna be some downs every once in a while.
Dude, and that's organic.
Oh yeah, I tried to make it as organic as I could. Like last night, me and my cousin Sean did World War Z. We actually had a viewer on with us, which was cool, and it was actually, funny enough, a viewer that I've gotten to know in the community through blast processing video games, who was the one that turned me on to World War Z. Me and this guy started playing Mario Kart together on Blast's streams whenever he was doing his stuff. And this is all just recently too. Like, so he jumped on World War Z. He literally just went out and he's like, yeah, I just got it the other day, like downloaded on Xbox. I'm like, fucking saddle up, partner. Let's go. We'll show you the ropes. So,
fun fact, by the way, I picked up Mario Kart 8.
Yes. Oh, it's on, Toot.
Oh, it absolutely is. I've been racing 50cc, so I'm the best racer ever. I'm getting... Listen, it's a completely different feel from N64. Give me a break.
Oh, 100%.
That's the last one I played. I'm working my way up. So
I can stomp all over my buddy Travis and anybody else in the other Mario Kart games, but God help me, Mario Kart 64, he just fucking trounced me the whole time. I was like, what? Why? What happened?
Dude, it there's no accounting for it. Sometimes it just happens.
It's a different beast.
It is a different beast. Speaking of a different beast, Beef. Okay, Ransom and Tom, I want you to tell me, raise your hand digitally if you watched AEW this week.
Nope.
I'll be honest, man. I haven't watched shit for anything for a while.
Dude, you've been busy with your streams. Yeah. I have built a guitar. So I've been busy as well. So I want Beef to do us a favor and give us a rundown of I know we're kind of jumping all over the place. We were talking about Triple H. We were talking about Tom's streams and everything. But you know what? Life is confusing right now, and so is this goddamn podcast. So, Beef, do me a favor. Give us a rundown of what you thought of AEW last night, because you seemed very chuffed with it.
Chuffed. That's not
positive.
Gotcha. I mean, it was okay. I thought last week's was better. And I'm not just gonna say that because the boys were at ringside. Although that was like, you know, it's a cool effect, and I get it. You know, social distancing, 6 feet. I understand all of that, but
I don't want to hear that sarcastic tone with me not coming down from Mania now.
Listen, man, I get it, you know, but you know, but here's the rub though. Like, yeah, okay, they weren't sitting at ringside, but they kept cutting to like a fucking trailer in the back where they were all sitting in like more of a confined space. It's like, what? And it may be the whole like number of people in a specific area. That's what I'm thinking that it comes down to. Because when you got the referee, when you got the referee, when you got at least 2 or 3 cameramen, you got Brandy, you have Tony Schiavone, you have Cody announcing, you have Kenny sometimes announcing, you have 2 wrestlers, maybe a manager. and probably a production guy somewhere along the line, right there is an easy 10. So, I'm sure that that's part of it. But they soldiered on. It was just very lackluster, I guess, because like last week they had the debut of Brody Lee and they had the debut of Matt Hardy, and they're pushing the inner circle and the elite thing. Like it was so just chock full of goodness.
Excuse me.
And then this week it was just not. There was a bunch of like squash matches. QT Marshall was a favored, or he was he was in a match. I don't remember. To be honest, I don't even remember a lot of the matches because they were basically squash matches. Brody Lee went over again.
Real quick, I saw something in the chat about the AEW drinking game. How to did you partake, or how would that have gone over if you did partake?
Not at all. I don't think Cody said "wait a minute" once on commentary. I don't think he said it once.
Really?
Yeah. Well, and it's probably one of those things where the boys were ribbing him and being like, "Hey, we're gonna post it to Twitter." Ha ha ha! And so it made him probably pretty conscientious. I'm not gonna say like conscientious about it, but he probably said, okay, this is my goal. I'm trying not to do this now because they're all expecting me to say it a ton. So
yeah, but I mean, give the people what they want. Like, I mean, part of a rib is always we want you to do it. You know what I mean? Right.
I know. I agree. So here are the results. Cody defeated Havoc. It wasn't a bad match. I hate seeing Jimmy Havoc continue to eat shit, but it is what it is. Jake had a pretty eerie promo in front of the fire. That Jake is Jake. He's going to do Jake things. Darby Allin. Why do I keep saying fucking Allin? Darby Allin beat Kip Sabian. Which was a decent match. I guess there were bright spots within a squash. Brody Lee within a squash. The main event was Omega versus Sammy Guevara for the AAA Mega Championship, and it was decent. And then the finale was probably the best part, which was Jericho Jericho facing off with Matt Hardy, and probably the best bit was Jericho having like a promo on Vanguard 1 and trying to recruit Vanguard 1 to the inner circle. That was funny.
He cut a promo on the drone and tried to recruit the drone. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it after we get the recording.
And then even better, Jericho knowing whenever he's like hit on a bit, he sent out he did a message on YouTube today where he cut a promo on his fucking Roomba.
Oh yeah, the best thing was the pout at the end of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. His frown face was amazing.
I really got to go back and like re-immerse myself now and catch up on this stuff.
Chris Jericho is a damn genius. Like he is. I really wonder how high his IQ is because he hits the nail on the head with everything he does.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
He's definitely got his finger on the pulse and is I mean. Like we've said it before, he is so good at just tweaking things and reinventing himself just a little bit each time.
Oh, yep.
It's little. It's just very, very subtle things too. You know what I mean? Like, man, just
like he's one of those guys where like he's never been well. I think since WCW, he was Chris Jericho there, and he's been Chris Jericho since. Like he's never been repackaged.
Yeah.
He's always been Chris Jericho. He's been a different version of Chris Jericho, but he's never had to be repackaged. The man is just a super smart dude in this business. And, I don't know. I think he's a godsend for AEW. Not to say that they'd be a flop without him, but...
No, but I think he is absolutely the veteran linchpin of the whole operation.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And pairing him... I'm sorry, Pooh, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, like, it seems like in recent history, I'm not going to say all the time, but in recent history, it really seems like any wrestling organization, any wrestling events, anything special seems to really feed off of, like, a veteran. Like, having a veteran there because it gives legitimacy and it helps the younger talent. Like, you go like, oh, this younger talent is under the learning tree of this veteran. You know, we can take it seriously.
Right.
And I think pairing him up with Matt Hardy was excellent because it's very clear that they were both riffing and playing off of one another. And, I mean, Matt Hardy...
I knew Judas. He betrayed me too.
when Matt Hardy is unencumbered, he is
hilarious.
Great.
Hilarious
there
and talented.
Things, yes, there are some things he does and says that probably land like a wet fart, but most of it's pretty great.
It's part of
he
the
was talking.
It's part of the shtick, though. I don't mean to argue that, and I'm not going to ramble on, but the stuff that lands like a wet fart seems like it purposefully lands like a wet fart.
That's true. And whether that's gamemanship, like him trying to do that, or whether that's just how it comes off. If that's how it comes off, hey, you know, that's better on him. But like last night, he was pointing out how like Abraham Lincoln was in the crowd and Martin Luther King. Like, oh man, that's fucking awesome. Good job, Matt Hardy.
Well, it's like whenever he had Jeff Hardy box the kangaroo that was smoking Joe Frazier.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Like,
what? Wait, what?
You never saw that?
Here, no.
Oh, when he was in TNA and he was reforming Jeff Hardy from a spot monkey into Brother Nero.
Right, right.
He took him to like a, what do you call it? Like a reserve, and had him box a kangaroo that was smoking Joe Frazier. It was
the vessel.
Yeah, the vessel of smoking Joe Frazier. Yes, like
it was wonderful.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Like people, so people, I guess, are butthurt about this, like the whole Matt Hardy, especially with him like teleporting, like, you know, jumping the shark, breaking kayfabe, all that. Like, hello, like. You know, this is also the same fan base that have cheered The Undertaker because he's a dead man named The Undertaker, who came out with a guy named Paul Bearer.
Dead man
walking.
God.
I mean, let's be real here. Just because they, like, did some clever editing and had Matt Hardy teleporting around Daly's place, which, by the way, Daly's Place is a phenomenal venue. They did Fight for the Fallen there. They did their Homecoming episode there, and now they've done the last 2 episodes there. I love Daly's Place. I think it's just one of the best venues in wrestling. But to have him like teleport back and forth, a lot of people are saying that it landed. You know, they didn't like it. Whatever. You know what? It was fucking great. I absolutely loved it, and like Chris Jericho like called him a wizard or a magician or something. Like, you know what?
Wizard.
Sometimes it's okay for something absolutely ridiculous and unbelievable to happen on wrestling because it's fake.
Well, I mean,
say it ain't so.
You have something unrealistic happen every time The Undertaker or The Fiend shows up. Like, how many times have they just disappeared from the ring and nobody bats an eye or loses their shit or gets all pissy and moany about that? How many times has The Undertaker appeared and disappeared in the middle of the freaking ring?
Listen, if they keep trotting The Undertaker out here and they keep like turning the lights off so that he can teleport back and forth, like they're gonna have to start like cutting to a commercial if they expect him to get where he needs to be for when the lights come back on. That's all I'm saying.
No, they'll just he'll kind of combine it with the American Badass. He'll just get on like, instead of a motorcycle, he'll just get on like a rascal scooter. He'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I did want to ask about that. Do you think that his appearance at WrestleMania is going to be more American Badass and less traditional Undertaker?
No, so the report was, sorry, Pooh. The report was that it was supposed to be like a hybrid, something new, not the dead man not the American Badass, but something that was probably closer to American Badass style.
The American Deadass?
Oh.
Something like that. But
the Deadass American?
Obviously, we're in these trying times. You know, I'm gonna fucking trademark that for like anytime this coronavirus is happening from now until October. These trying times.
Yo, do it because who knows,
dude. Seriously. Side note, yeah, make the most of it. I said to Taylor, I was like, whenever all this stuff started going on, I said we need to make a shirt that says #quarantine and stream. Well, guess what fucking shirt is available in my section?
Hell yeah,
quarantine and stream. So,
and by the way, listeners, go buy that shit. Support Tom because he's out of fucking work. So get him some fucking money, please.
Yeah, please. And not only that, but quick sponsor aside. Quarantine, get you 25% off all apparel, the whole site wide over at Ghoul Gaming. Quarantine and stream, which it's the ampersand, not the word and, but quarantine and stream is 25% off streamer exclusive merch. So there you go.
Look at that. Our sponsor is giving you, our fans, the deal and the lowdown.
Go get a P3 shirt from there. Hell.
Anyway, so to answer your question, Ransom, no, I don't, because, and this is a nice little segue here.
Is that what he's going to come out on?
No, right?
Oh.
So the AJ Styles officially challenged The Undertaker last week to a boneyard match. No one is quite sure what a boneyard match is.
Fantastic.
What in the actual fuck?
So I can't wait for them to be beating each other with fake bones, with gimmicked bones. I can't wait for it.
My bones.
It's going to be dominoes. It's going to be dominoes.
There's going to be a rib cage that someone hits him with. Somebody's chicken carcass.
Somebody's got to dress up as Skeletor. I'm all bones. Yeah.
Yeah. AJ.
From the sound of it, it sounds a lot like Buried Alive. Now, I'm not certain about that, but just the way that AJ talks about burying him, I feel like so. The idea is that the Boneyard match and reportedly Fiend versus Cena is going to be like a House of Horrors-esque thing. Well, you know,
shut up! Don't say no. No.
Well, you just said no.
It didn't work last time. Unless they let Bray Wyatt have creative control, it's not going to work.
Well,
I want John Cena to stand outside of the Firefly Funhouse after he set it on fire, and as you see John Cena standing looking at the fire, I want the camera to be behind John Cena, and I want him to put the three sign up in the air, like freaking Randy Orton posing up a storm outside of that stupid burning shack. What a stupid-ass segment that was.
So, I'm
gonna pose in the middle of the woods where no one can see me.
I'm open-minded. I'm open-minded because they have reportedly they recorded the top matches yesterday, and I read so like they're down to the wire because the city of Orlando said basically shelter in place, or whatever they want to call it, but basically you can't leave your house unless you are an essential worker, or if you're going to get groceries, or if you're like going for a walk or whatever.
Which I gotta ask with that. I mean, if you are leaving your house to get groceries, all that means is basically that they're going to be able to pull you over for no reason and just question you and say like, "Hey, where are you going?" Like, right? I mean, because if you say like,
well, if they do that, just say I'm going to the grocery store. Where are you going? Grocery store? Oh,
and you know what will happen? Okay. They will look at you and say, "Okay, move along." That's what they will say. This is not a fucking police state.
Right, right. I mean, like,
no, not at all, not at all.
Which, if you listen to some of the Facebook experts, you'd believe that's the case.
Oh, but don't get ransom started.
Hey,
they should call it Goldberg book. That's how terrible that place is.
I have a point, you bastards.
Goldberg is better than Facebook.
That's a fucking terrible thing to say, and I don't know if it's I don't know if it's true or not because I can't compress it right now. Anyway,
Tom, enjoy this.
Yes, wonderful. Yes.
Okay.
Reportedly, they have filmed both the Boneyard match and the Fiend Cena match prior to this, and they're both going to get.
I'm just going to mute my microphone for a little bit. Don't worry.
Have they filmed it already, or they're going to film it beforehand?
No, they have to because like tonight, Thursday at midnight is at 11:59 p.m. is the deadline. Like you know that non-essentials have to be home, and WWE is non-essential.
Wait, so they're going to be filming it this early then?
They've reportedly they filmed top matches yesterday to make sure that they had the top matches done, and then they're filming the rest today, or have filmed the rest today.
Wow.
So the Boneyard match and the Fiend Cena match are well. I mean, you know what? It's foresight, and again, this is one of those things where Vince McMahon is the smartest man in the room because he could have said, "We're doing it live. Fuck it, we're gonna do it." No, and you know what? Orlando would have shut that shit down. They would have said, "Nope, we don't care who the fuck you are. We don't care how much money you make. We don't care that you have your performance center built here. This is a government mandate. You cannot do this." So Vince, knowing and seeing the writing on the wall, said, "Okay, let's film WrestleMania. We said we're going to give him WrestleMania. Let's film WrestleMania." Vince is all in on this whole WrestleMania
Oh,
thing.
he's all in, huh?
Hey!
Right? But so they filmed the content, and I mean, it's not like back in the Raw and Nitro days where spoilers would come out. Who's gonna spoil anything? And I'll tell you what, if there are spoilers, heads are gonna roll because there are only so many people who know about it, and you can guarantee that a wrestler's probably not gonna spoil anything. So it's gonna be cameramen, production, and Vince would probably have no problem saying, "Fuck it, you're all fired." So I don't think that they would jeopardize that.
I would be shocked if there was zero spoilers. I wouldn't be surprised if one thing got leaked, and it doesn't matter if it's a small thing or a big thing. But I can't imagine there will be zero accurate spoilers between now and when it's supposedly airing. That would shock me.
Well, and let's be real. I mean, we can see it coming a mile away. McIntyre is going to win. Baszler is going to win. Roman Reigns is going to win. Like, those are not fucking spoilers. They're obvious. And if they don't, then the Fiend's going to win. If those things don't go off like they should, then it's a fucking stupid mistake. It's a dumbass mistake if they don't go off. So if somebody's saying, "Oh, this is the spoiler," no, it may be, but more than likely you're just betting on the odds.
Could you imagine if Brock Lesnar wins over McIntyre?
Well, and so there are two schools of thought about that, and we're getting way off my point, but that's okay. Yes, okay, it would suck for McIntyre, but McIntyre deserves this big fucking moment where he gets the fucking crown, okay? And he becomes the first ever UK-born. No, that's not right because Sheamus was Sheamus WWE champion or world champion? I don't remember.
He was world
WWE
champion.
I think he was both.
World. No, he was world.
No, he was WWE.
He was ever WWE. I'll look it up.
Yeah, he had the spinner belt at one point, I think.
Yeah, because he beat Triple H or Cena or somebody before way back, like whenever he first came in.
Right, but I don't remember if that was the world. Anyway, but bottom line is McIntyre deserves this fucking moment, and for it to be.
I'm sorry, excuse me. He was the World Heavyweight Champion. He was the WWE Champion, United States Champion, Tag Team Champion, SmackDown, both SmackDown and Raw, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble,
Money in the Bank,
and Slammy. Sheamus has done it all.
He really has.
Sheamus legit has done it all. Wow,
yeah,
look
man.
at him.
So here's the problem, though, Beef. Either way. Because if McIntyre loses, then it's, like you said, he deserves this big thing, yada, yada, yada. If McIntyre wins, he's still not going to get that big thing.
That's what I'm saying.
He's going to get up on the ropes, and he's going to hold that title up for no one in the arena to see or cheer for.
So why not
no matter
have
how
Lesnar,
you slice it, McIntyre is screwed.
So why not have Lesnar win with like a stupid roll-up? Or have Heyman interfere? Or do something real fucking shiesty? Because, yeah, you know what? This is supposed to be your big blow-off event, but guess what? I don't think it's going to be that this year. I think that this is going to be like a B-level show. I think that SummerSlam... So this does two things. So WrestleMania being in the Performance Center, it does two things. One, it really amps up next year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles. It really makes it a big deal because the new Los Angeles stadium is going to be an absolute palace, and it's going to be filled with 100,000 fans. And when you put side by side WrestleMania 37 next to 36, it's going to feel huge.
That's what she said.
And two, it's going to make SummerSlam feel huge as well, assuming that by August we're through the woods on this, which, if you all fucking do what you're supposed to be doing, then maybe we will be. But bottom line is, assuming that SummerSlam is still a big show, I think it's in Toronto this year, then I think it's going to have a big fight feel to it, regardless of what the matches are. So why not have Lesnar, get one over on McIntyre? Like, have McIntyre dominate the whole fucking thing and have Heyman distract the ref, Lesnar hit a low blow, F5, match over. Like, why not delay that a little bit longer so that you can have, because the crowd will be ready to pop when McIntyre wins, and if you delay that satisfaction another 4 months, it's going to be even bigger, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so because any event that follows the first live event that follows this quarantine for WWE is going to be essentially like their WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Because the crowd is going to be ravenous.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what pay-per-view event it is. And if WWE was smart, if this quarantine bullshit or whatever is over in June or July, whatever month it's over in, that's when WWE should put on SummerSlam. I don't care if SummerSlam has traditionally been in August. You put SummerSlam on when this quarantine is up, because you want your first pay-per-view event with a crowd back in attendance to be massive. So if you were smart, that's what you would make. What?
But they've already sold tickets to that event.
Well, they sold tickets to WrestleMania, and I'm sure they sold tickets to whatever pay-per-view is going to be after WrestleMania. That's not going to happen.
That's fair. But Money in the Bank, by the way, I think would be next.
If you put a pay-per-view on, because here's my rationale on this. The first whatever back after this quarantine is over, not just wrestling, like the first major sporting event, the first concert, the first wrestling show, whatever the first is, it's going to be probably the biggest of the year, because people are going to be chomping at the bit to get the hell out.
Yep.
And get there and to be amongst, people again and to have their lives back. So whatever this first live wrestling show is going to be with a crowd is going to be the biggest wrestling event of the year. And it's going to top SummerSlam because the crowd is going to be the most ravenous at this event. That's where you should give them McIntyre going over Lesnar. You're going to get insane crowd reactions at that point. Don't delay it. Don't have like 2 or however many pay-per-views leading up to SummerSlam. Give it to them right smack dab then and there. Because that's going to be your hottest crowd. That's going to be the crowd that loses their shit for everything.
Good out, man.
That crowd's probably going to be so hot that they would cheer Roman Reigns.
Been very gassy tonight.
But But this WrestleMania is going to be essentially
wrong.
like WrestleMania exists this year. I mean, they're going to put it on. They're going to call it WrestleMania. But when you look back on it, WrestleMania 2020 is going to be essentially like WrestleMania didn't exist. It's going to be essentially looked at as like, oh, great, it was a house show. Because it's going to be that underwhelming.
Somehow, some way, McMahon will sweep it under the rug and be like, "It never happened. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, we're gonna retcon it. It didn't happen.
WrestleMania 35. No one knows what that is. Who ever talks about that anyway? Have you seen this guy Roman Reigns?
Did Chris Benoit main event that one? I don't know.
Who's
maybe
EC3?
Like I wouldn't really be surprised if they did some sort of hokey nonsense where they were like, it's WrestleMania Super Show. Or they call it WrestleMania something, but they don't actually give it an official number. That wouldn't surprise me. That way it won't go down in the history books as being an official, official WrestleMania. You look back on this back in the network and watch this WrestleMania 10 years from now, you're going to go, no thanks, I'm going to turn this off and watch WrestleMania 9.
I'm sure if two things, though, a comment and a question. One, I'm sure that when this does eventually go on the network and stuff, and 10 15 years later people go back, I'm sure there'll be some sort of like video package at the beginning showing talking all about the coronavirus and how they persevered in the face of the coronavirus. And
absolutely,
WWE stronger than the coronavirus, brother.
And
100%
in the face of a pandemic.
And two, my question is, if they do that, I wonder what happens next year. Do they give that WrestleMania this year's title, like WrestleMania 30 whatever, or like
WrestleMania Dick Suckington?
Oh,
well, and I mean,
wow.
They've really kind of moved away from the whole Roman numerals thing. Like they reference it here and there. But like for the most part, Vince doesn't like it, and you know how it is. If Vince doesn't like something, it's not gonna fucking happen. So Vince, once they got to WrestleMania 30, Vince was like, you know what? It's just like a real 30-year-old. After you turn 30, birthdays don't count anymore.
It's true.
Speak for yourself. I take every year as another year of leveling up experience.
Oh well.
We all hate you, Tom. We all hate you, and we want you to leave. So have a nice day.
Okay, bye.
Wow, this is
Bye, Tom.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I'm not. Go on, Tom.
But
holy crap.
I love you, Tom.
But I mean,
Never test me because I will do shit just to spite you, Beef.
Oh my goodness.
I don't doubt it.
No, he's one of the crew now. He gets it. All right, congratulations, Tom. You're now officially part of the crew. You will do things just to spite Beef. You win.
Fuck yeah.
But and that's kind of the drum that I've been beating since this whole thing kind of started getting onward. Is that I think.
Yes.
Facebook, Goldberg.
Yes. All of
Sorry, I'm having a stroke.
this is the way. This is the way.
He's like a fucking speak and say. He's like a fucking speak and say. Someone pulled his fucking string and now he's just going.
There's a snake in my boot.
Yeah.
I was like,
There's a snake in my boot.
Dude, I was waiting for the nut button once you posted those gifs in the Discord.
Oh no, that was
I
just.
thought that's what you were doing because you're like, wait a minute.
That was just for you and me, buddy. Giggity.
Oh, I think I have the corona. I'm out of breath.
Oh, don't say that.
Listen, you want to talk out of breath? I fucking died earlier, man. Went out bike riding for the first time.
You sound pretty good for being a dead man.
Well, yeah, dead ass walking.
Oh no, you're the Undertaker.
I am. Bong rip.
Oh,
Bong.
no.
Bong rip. Anyways, now I went out riding for the first time in fucking. I don't even know when the last time I went
Damn it, Tom! You're going to help spread the coronavirus. You should be staying inside.
Listen.
What the hell?
Listen, I had to get out.
This is why America's going to go to shit, because Tom is taking a bike ride instead of staying quarantined.
Hey, listen.
Now this thing's going to go on.
I don't want to hear it.
I could just see.
Let me rant for a second. Because
I could just see Beef sitting there with his face in his hand, shaking his head.
Listen, there's nothing saying that you can't get out and exercise. You're allowed to do that. But listen, all these motherfuckers on the trail, if you don't learn some goddamn trail etiquette, keep to the right, pass on the left. I'm going to run you over with my bike, and I'm going to spread whatever fucking my fist across your face in a second. Run over your goddamn ankle biter dogs if you don't get them out of the trail.
So much corona spreading. Oh.
I'll do it.
All the
He's going to have a stroke.
All the coronas. No, I mean,
Give me some lime.
Honestly, it was a nice day for it, and but it was just way too peoply.
A nice day for corona.
Yeah, a
nice day for a corona with lime.
Oh, he went into the Matrix.
I should crack open a corona. That'd be delicious.
You should. Why not?
He said in his prepubescent voice.
Yeah, sorry. Happens.
He was excited about it. It happened.
Hey,
yeah.
when you're hung like a tripod, you can squeak like a mouse.
So,
it don't matter, brother.
Exactly.
Oh well, So let me ask you guys.
Once again, Tom's dick made his way into the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast.
Giggity. Made its way in.
So let me ask you guys a question. What is wrong with us? Anyway,
everything.
Corona in the brain.
Let me ask you guys a question.
This is the worst fucking episode we've ever done, by the way. I'm
the best.
declaring that right now.
Says you, Beef. Anyway, so let me ask you guys a question. So, who do you feel like is AEW's key player that they cannot do without right now? Like the person who's going to carry them forward into the future.
MJF, without a doubt. That's that for me. Because he is such a amazing fucking heel, and I think he's got so much heat that I don't know. I just can't see how you can. I can't see how you can run the company without him. There's a lot of very talented people. The Bucks are talented, but when it comes to somebody who has the look and the charisma and the mic skills that MJF has, I mean, look how he hung with Jericho whenever they were doing that whole. Do you want me to be in the circle? Do you want to be in their inner circle? Do you want me to be? See, I can't even do it because, fuck. But he's so goddamn good.
All right, I'll take that. Beef, what about you?
Hangman Adam Page.
Okay.
I mean, he has the look. The crowd loves him. He said fucking cowboy shit one time, and they've been chanting it for fucking 3 months. He's got a great finish. He's very charismatic, and he's super fucking young. So realistically, I think that MJF is going to be there too. Ooh. But I mean, it would not shock me to see MJF take the big money at some point. I don't think Hangman ever would, although he almost did one time. But I think he's learned his lesson.
Can I add another one to that, actually? Sammy Guevara. Fucking phenomenal. In-ring performer. And then, all the cue cards, whenever they were doing that whole bit, I don't know if that was his idea specifically or somebody else's, but that was genius. I love that.
Okay, Tom, what is your official take? Is it Sammy Guevara or is it MJF?
It's MJF. It's got to be MJF. But
all right.
Sammy's a close second.
All right. Beef?
You're
hanging on
for sure.
Hangman Adam Page.
If Darby would learn to kind of wrangle in his style, I think that because he's a Jeff Hardy style where he's going to captivate a lot of people. You already see a lot of fans out there in face paint, but I don't see him being around for more than 7 years the way that he wrestles.
That's fair. Ransom, what about you? If you have a take.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems a little bit like a cop-out or an obvious one or whatever, but I say Chris Jericho. And the reason I say that is look at everything that he's done so far in AEW. Like, if you took him out of the equation, if he was never there, look at all the amazing stuff that you would miss out on. And yeah, he's a veteran and he's got the age, but I still think he's taken very good care of himself. I think he still has. I bet he could put another 10 years in. And I mean, who else could stand in the middle of the ring and have an argument with a drone and have that go over? I mean, nobody else other than Chris Jericho could do that. So he's got the brains for it. He's got the mic skills. He's got the in-ring skills. They're going to build. They've already built a lot around him. He was their first champion. I think he has a lot more tribute, and I think you'll see that. Even if he moves into maybe that Ric Flair and Evolution role, where he's less in the ring performing, but still more out there with the inner circle, I think he's going to do a lot for AEW going forward.
Okay. My honest take is MJF as well. I'm going to echo what Tom said. I think having, and I understand that it's difficult saying this, like, it's more, if you look at it from a perspective of like stepping outside of the smart fan thing, Adam Page is a really, really good call because he's very likable. The character is very versatile, and you can kind of put him in any given scenario and have it work. But I really think that they're like, Adam Page is good, but MJF is something absolutely fucking special. There is something so special about MJF. Like, I think it's because he really does the kayfabe thing. And I think he does it incredibly well. I feel like he is a heel that you could actually build a future of a company on. Between MJF and Hangman Adam Page, and then the rest of the Rogues Gallery that's around, like, you absolutely have gold. Like, if you make smart decisions with the people you hire in the future, like, I think Matt Hardy is a really, really good decision because he's a good vet to have around. Not saying feed him to the younger kids to have them beat him and gain some credibility, but like having them be able to sit under the learning tree of Matt Hardy and a Chris Jericho, and hell, even a Jim Ross, like, that is good. And then, I mean, having Pentagon and Rey Fenix there, yeah, they're younger, but they've been wrestling forever. It's in their blood. Like, having
Phoenix is younger, but Pentagon's actually kind of up there. Believe it or not.
Well, no, I know, but I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about including people like Chris Jericho in the conversation, like, you know what I mean? They have it in them. They have all the necessary ingredients to make something really, really special going forward. But they have to hang their hat on the right people. And I feel like, personally, MJF is the way to go. Like, the man is just, I said one time, I made a quick fast count news whenever I was doing that. Which I need to do more of that. But the Fast Count News, I did like a 7-second video that just said, MJF is a fucking treasure. And he is an absolute fucking treasure. Like, and he's only gotten better. So MJF is my pick.
Hey, speaking of Fast Count News, I have some breaking fucking news, like big fucking news hot off the presses.
Okay.
As a report... Yeah, we're gonna skip all the fucking stupid gimmicks. Shut the fuck up and listen to me.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is a big fucking deal. As reported by Ryan Satine today, March 26, 2020, Roman Reigns will not be a part of the Universal Championship match at WrestleMania 36 as planned.
Whoa!
Does it elaborate why?
Sources with knowledge of the situation tell us, and I'm just quoting from ProWrestlingSheet.com here. Sources with knowledge of the situation tell us that Reigns expressed to the WWE that he didn't feel comfortable doing any more of the Performance Center shows during the coronavirus pandemic because he's immunocompromised from his battle with leukemia and didn't want to risk his health. We're told WWE honored his request and he will now be replaced by someone else in the match against Goldberg, though it's unclear who at this time.
Wow. I will give him all the credit in the world for having the nuts to stand up and say no.
Oh,
hell
absolutely.
Yes.
Like, seriously.
Hell yes.
I'm no joke.
Good
like,
for him.
All the credit in the world. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to run to the little poots room.
Okay.
Yeah, freaking good on him for being able to, put his life ahead of the WWE product, because there are some people that don't do that.
Absolutely agreed. I mean, when it comes down to it, like I always tell people too, and this isn't any sort of, I've tried to kind of coin it as my little catchphrase whenever I sign off on my streams, but really, if you really read into it, there's more to it. I always say, take care of yourselves and be good to one another, keep it casual, game on. So that's the biggest thing. I always told people this anytime I've been giving anybody advice throughout life is you always have to do what's best for yourself, because at the end of the day, who's going to take care of you but yourself? Like, I'm not saying, not coming from a nihilistic or cynical view of like, oh, you can't trust anybody and, can't depend on anybody, blah, 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 blah. No, like, basic human.
No, I don't think that's nihilistic at all. I think you're dead on.
No, I mean, like, I always try to do whatever's best for myself. And if I'm trying to help somebody else out too, like not in a schemy sort of way, like, but I'm also thinking like, okay, well, how is this going to affect me and how is this going to hurt or help me? You know what I mean? Like I've always tried to keep my best interest in mind, because at the end of the day, like when shit hits the fan, if I'm down on my luck and I'm, if I'm like, fuck, I can't pay my bills or I can't do this or whatever, am I going to depend on person A, B, or C? No, I'm going to fucking pull myself up by my own bootstraps and do what I got to do.
That's right.
If I need help, I'm going to ask for it, obviously, and I'm going to turn to, somebody who I trust and feel I can, who I could depend on. But this, circles back around to Roman Reigns has to do what's best for himself, because if he doesn't, then that's one less person that they have on their roster. That's one less tool in their utility belt. Like, so honestly, it may come off as a selfish thing. And I bet there's going to be some fucking internet naysayers out there like, oh, well, that's selfish, Roman, blah, blah, blah. And if they say that, I'm going to tell them I'm going to say preemptively, go fuck yourself right now. Like, I would hate those people more than I hate Goldberg. And that's saying a lot. And
that's smart of WWE too, because to let him do that,
yes, sorry, good.
To let him do that is smart, because
absolutely,
you're investing in your future doing that with him. Because if he gets sick and something bad goes down because he was already compromised, that's it. That's WWE has gotten all from him that they can get. He's done.
Yep.
If he lives through it, he's still done. So WWE is really, really a future investment, allowing him to bow out like that. So smart on everybody for doing this.
Oh yeah. I mean, and at some point down the line, you could obviously, like, that could be something that I know there's got to be a way. There's some sort of creative brains that are going to take the gravity of things here and turn it into some sort of way, be able to work it into a promo or something. Like somebody will, some heel will be like, oh yeah, well, you didn't seem so tough whenever you fucking ran away and ran home because of the coronavirus, blah, 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 blah. Like, whatever, do that, fucking milk it for what it's worth. But no, in all honesty, like, just, for as much as we've given Roman shit, here and there, like, I think that's honestly the absolute best thing he could do. And I mean, he's keeping himself safe, and not only that, but like, say he is immunocompromised. Say he does end up getting it somehow, and he's not aware that he does. It just like with everybody else, you can get it and not be symptomatic
for up to 2 weeks.
Right. So so that could happen, and then look what happens. Now he's now that's how big of a piece of shit would you feel if you unknowingly spread it? And if he does that, guaranteed he'd be fucking dunzo, like real done. But
absolutely.
So now hold on. So Roman's out, and again, internet rumors. I don't know how true it is, but I've read things online that say that Brock Lesnar might not be able to get back into.
No, that's fake news. No, that's fake news.
You cut there for a second, saying Brock couldn't do what? Get back where?
Could get back into the country.
Oh, is he out of the country right now?
He lives in
Saskatchewan.
Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know he lived up in Canada. I knew he lived. I thought he lived like in the U.S., but like on the border there. I was.
He lives
up in God's
Canada.
country in Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Okay.
Because,
so he's gonna get back in for that.
He was on Raw Monday, so yeah, no, he's there.
That's
right.
I gotta say that's been my one biggest question with all the stuff going on, and obviously like we were talking about it, like that's why they're taping some of these bigger matches and stuff like that. I was wondering how long can they get away with doing having to being able to travel like that, because even if they're going and they're performing in front of empty arenas and this and that, at some point some state or some sort of government entity is going to be like, no, this isn't essential travel for you, get the fuck back home.
Sure.
At this point, all of WrestleMania has been taped, or that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
They taped they taped this week's Raw, next week's Raw, and reportedly the Raw after Mania on Monday.
Okay.
And I think they taped all of SmackDowns on Tuesday, and then yesterday was night one. The reason that they split up the WrestleMania into 2 nights this year is not because of, hey, let's think of our fans. It was because so that they could get under the whole like less than 50 people in a place at a time.
Yeah.
Because obviously, it's a bigger crew, so they broke it down into 2 nights. And then once the edict came down from Orlando, they said, okay, you got to get your shit and get by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. And again, it's a question of enforcements and all that, blah blah blah. But realistically, Vince is going to want to comply with everything because it's a multi-million-dollar business.
Right.
So so reportedly they taped their bigger matches yesterday, and then they worked their asses off today filming everything else. And then, like I said, things like Taker versus AJ and The Fiend versus Cena were filmed on like closed sets. So nobody really knows what those are going to be. I guess we'll see. I have no idea who steps up to face Brock Lesnar. It'll be interesting because I assume that they already have SmackDowns recorded up until
you
WrestleMania.
mean Goldberg?
I'm sorry, I do. Yes. So it'll be interesting who faces Goldberg because I assume that they have SmackDowns recorded until Mania, which is going to be pushing Roman Reigns versus Goldberg. And now, obviously it's not going to happen. So they're going to have to do some clever editing, I think. But
yeah, let's talk about that. Who do you think they're going to put in to face Goldberg? And do you think that person takes the title off of Goldberg, or do you think Goldberg holds it?
Good question. I mean, honestly, I think it really depends on who, but I think, call me crazy, but who's the biggest heel that you have on SmackDown?
Dolph Ziggler?
No, Baron Corbin. God love Dolph, but...
Yeah, I was Baron Corbin. I can see them. I'm saying who's the biggest heel that's available there. I'm not saying like in your opinion, but of who they have there, who's touted as being the biggest heel.
And that's debatable because right now this whole Otis and Dolph Ziggler, Mandy Rose thing has got Dolph as a very hot heel. you know, he took a hot chick from a fat guy who actually had a chance. Like, not one fucking person.
Yes,
in
my
the
documentary.
Like, not one person in the world is gonna go. Not one person in the world is gonna go. That Dolph Ziggler is all right. No, everybody's like, man, I can't wait till fucking Otis just smashes his skull in, like when he snaps and just breaks him apart. So like,
was that supposed to happen at Mania?
Yes, and it still might. We'll see. But yeah, that was supposed to be like, you know, the you know, Otis wins the girl, blah blah blah, and apparently Sonya Deville was supposed to be involved, and you know, lots of shitty things are happening because of this. But obviously, wrestling being the absolute lowest tier, because you know that's absolute entertainment. But I mean, that was like, to me, the hottest story, and I don't think they fucking talked about it once in the last couple of weeks. As far as who, I mean, like. They've been angling Bryan for the Intercontinental title. Strowman hasn't been on any shows. He said he's sitting at home not getting paid, which leads me to believe that he's either come down with it or he's self-quarantining like Ray and Dana Brooke are.
Oh wait, hold on. Ray and Dana Brooke are self-quarantining?
That's what I've been understood. Yes.
Now, I'm sorry,
I thought they were quote unquote quarantined, not self-quarantining.
Yeah, I thought they were quarantined.
I misunderstood that then.
All right, so let me backtrack. They have not been diagnosed with the COVID. They have like sickness symptoms, like a headache, you know, possibly a fever, but neither of them have been confirmed. I mean, obviously, we probably wouldn't know anyway, because that stuff's probably gonna be hush hush. But
well, I mean, just it's a HIPAA violation if they. Well, I don't know.
No, you're right. No,
I guess not. Well, I guess not so much, because they. Well, I'm trying to remember if they. The cases that got announced whenever they announced them in like Allegheny County, like if they died from it, I think that's not the case. Like that's a matter of public record, but.
Yeah, they have not they have not announced any names that I know of, unless they've like outed themselves.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah.
So it's up in the air. They could have it, or they could just be like, "Nah,
right.
I'm not leaving."
But bottom line is, they're not going to be like Dana Brooke was advertised to be in the six-pack challenge for Bayley's title, and she's not going to be there. So you know, do they call an audible and have somebody else do it? I think Paige was supposed to be in the match, but because of travel restrictions, she can't do it. I mean, you know, who else would they get to face Goldberg but Baron Corbin? You know, who else has an open dance card but well, actually, Corbin's facing Elias, so because he's part of the whole Gronkowski thing. So yeah.
Wait.
So yeah, like
back
I don't know
why is Corbin facing Elias, and where does Gronkowski come into play? So
Gronkowski is the host of WrestleMania.
Okay, that I get.
He said that he wanted to see Elias versus Baron Corbin, and so it is done.
Okay. I mean,
because dum-dums like dum-dum things.
But okay, then.
So what do you guys think about? Now, this is pure fantasy booking, because you know this is what we do. What would you guys think about an NXT call-up coming up and beating Goldberg for the world title?
I feel like, I don't know. My whole thing going back to why I think it would be Corbin.
Fucking Matt Riddle.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness.
Vince will never let that happen, because that Matt Riddle has campaigned and pushed so hard, and like, you know, in real life is just like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. Vince will. I don't think
Goldberg would do it. I think Goldberg would say no.
Exactly. Goldberg wouldn't do it, and Vince won't let it happen. I would think that my only hang up with it being Corbin, and my initial thought was like, you got to have a good shit-eating heel, so that way when all this is said and done and they want to put it back on Corbin, that he takes it off of a big shit-eating heel. But we've seen Roman versus Corbin done to death, so I don't know if they want to risk going that route. With the NXT call-up, I'm not sure who you would. I'm not sure who you have because I don't even know what the hell the state of things is going to be with NXT. Like, because NXT Takeover for Tampa is finito, right?
Or did they tape that already?
Yeah,
okay.
No, well they've because the news broke on like ESPN or whatever the fuck ever about them like showing the matches that were supposed to be at Tampa like the next couple weeks on NXT. So that's what they're doing. They're kind of interlacing those matches. For example,
so
next week is Keith Lee versus. Well, I don't mind it. Like next week is supposed to be Keith Lee versus Dijakovic versus Damian Priest for the North American title.
Well, he is the Archer
I'm in for
of
it, man.
infamy, whatever that means.
Yes, exactly. So, but I mean, it's tough because I mean, like I said, you in theory they have matches taped to have Daniel Bryan facing Sami Zayn, because Bryan would be the other one that I think would beat Goldberg. I'd be okay with that. Maybe you have Kofi take it back from Goldberg. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Do you think they call an audible and bring Adam Cole up to face Goldberg, and you have the entire Undisputed Era involved in that?
The problem is the way they've built Goldberg. I love Adam Cole, and he's done a wonderful job of, like, you know, making himself a credible threat and everything like that. The problem is, man, against Goldberg, Adam Cole's not believable to the general public.
That's the key thing, to the general public.
Yep.
I mean, what if he gets to the ring and coughs on him? I mean, like, you know, like.
Look, all I'm saying is that you had set, like, and I'm comparing guys like size wise and believability wise. You had Seth Rollins beating Brock Lesnar. If Seth Rollins can beat Brock Lesnar, why can't Adam Cole, with the help of the Undisputed Era, beat Goldberg?
That is a good
If you've got
point.
the Undisputed Era there, it doesn't
point.
have to be a clean. It could be a swarmy, shaky ass finish.
A giant schmoz of a finish.
I'll tell you what.
Good point.
Here's how I see it. Here's how I see it. To me, this is the time to pull the trigger on Keith Lee.
Yo, yes.
So
have him drop the NA title next week and then show up at WrestleMania, just absolutely kill Goldberg, and then you have Reigns versus Keith Lee at SummerSlam.
That could be interesting. You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't be too upset with that. The only problem is if they were looking to get the title on Roman and having him not get booed out of the building, him versus Keith Lee is not going to accomplish that. Because
so let me
hold on, because like I mentioned before, like people were pissed about Goldberg getting the title or whatever because he beat the Fiend, but it basically, like we said, it's a vehicle to get the title onto Roman without having Roman take too much heat. Because if Roman would have beaten the Fiend, the amount of cheers he would have possibly gotten would not been nowhere near as large if he beat the Fiend versus if he beats Goldberg. Now, if you have Roman versus Keith Lee, Roman's going in basically as the heel. Like, if you had to assign a heel role, whether they try to put him over that way or not, that makes no difference. Everybody is going to love Keith Lee over Roman Reigns. Like,
let me editorialize real quick. So, I didn't get to mention this when we were talking about it. I don't think that Roman Reigns stepping back comes without strings. I think that the WWE as a corporation will applaud his move. I think that Stephanie McMahon and Hunter Hearst Helmsley will tout the move. Not the social media platform tout, of course, because that's dead.
Tout. Wow.
But,
that was a deep cut.
That's a throwback.
But they'll say, oh well, we're proud of of the big dog for quarantining himself and reclusing himself from this, or recusing himself from the situation. But the old man. The old man absolutely lives and dies for loyalty. brand loyalty, being there, being the guy that's willing to jump on that grenade to save the company. Now, not for nothing, but given their shaky past with Roman Reigns, how they've always had trouble pulling the trigger, given his injury history, his suspension history, and now this, I'm just saying, like, it potentially could hurt a guy like Roman Reigns in the eyes of Vince McMahon.
You know what? That's not a bad point, and I agree with you because I feel like you are right. I'm still thinking that, you know, they'll still kind of I'm thinking in the mindset of they'll still carry on with Roman, of, you know, getting the title back after this is all said and done. But you're not far off from the truth at all, because even if they put the title on Keith Lee, then now you can have whoever, you could have a gamut of all sorts of people up against him, and I think it gives you a lot more possibilities that way. So if that's the case, I'd be okay with Keith Lee getting the call up.
Now,
and not only that, real quick, Ransom, but here's the thing. If they take and they say, okay, you know what? Fuck Roman Reigns. And that could well be Vince's attitude after this.
Oh.
And they decide to feed Roman Reigns to Keith Lee at SummerSlam. Like, you have a guy who you had beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 3 years ago. You had a guy that you've been building for the last 6 years, and you feed him to this monster guy who just came up and beat Goldberg in his first WWE match. Like, you got a made man in Keith Lee. You got a guy who can carry a brand for years to come. That was my thought. Go ahead, Ransom.
I would have to think, regardless of Vince McMahon's inner feelings, I would have to believe that the burial of Roman Reigns won't go quietly. Like, you know, Roman Reigns doesn't seem like the kind of guy, like he's not going to pull a Bret Hart. Like, he's not going to go and call, like, you know, the different news companies and goes, you know, because I did this, Vince screwed me out of this, blah, 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 blah. He's not the kind of guy that's going to do that.
No.
But you would have to think, as many leaks as there are within WWE, and WrestleMania not leaking, fine. You know, they have that pretty well closed off. But the amount of leaks that do come out of WWE, someone is going to catch wind of that. And that would be essentially the burial of WWE. Because of all of the different things that have transpired over the course of WWE's history, with the steroid thing, the screwing of Bret Hart, the death of Owen Hart, blah, blah, blah. This, I believe, if Vince buries Roman because of this, A, that's going to get out, and B, that's going to do irreparable damage. You can't spin that into, like, oh, the Mr. McMahon heel character is back, we're going to spin this way. That's going to be unbelievably negative press for WWE that I don't know that they'd be able to recover from. Like, hey, this guy that had leukemia didn't want to wrestle during the COVID pandemic. Think of all these huge buzzwords. Leukemia, COVID, pandemic. He wanted to protect himself, and he requested not to wrestle, and then they bury him. My goodness. Like, WWE would get roasted over the coals for that. I can't imagine Vince would do that, regardless of his inner feelings. Oh, it would. I don't know how you would be able to spin that and come back from that, because people take this COVID thing, at least I believe the bulk of the people take it so seriously. Not that it shouldn't be taken seriously, but they do. They take it very seriously. That if this were to get out, Lord Almighty, I don't know how you come back from a PR situation in that instance.
Here's a quick aside. My buddy Eli, who's a big wrestling fan, was just messaging me, and right after we were in the throes of our discussion of Roman here, and I was like, telling him we're actually just talking about that right now. And he's like, I'm not sure who would make, literally nobody makes sense except maybe someone from NXT. And I told him, we mentioned Corbin, maybe Keith Lee. He said, oh my God, I got it, bro. And I'm like, he won't let it happen. I was like, Vince won't let it happen.
No.
He's like, or depending on which night, which match is on, have Brock drop the WWE title to Drew, then show up and beat Goldberg. I'd be okay with Goldberg getting his ass beat by Brock. I'm good with that if that would happen.
Brock just constantly running, like having a belt.
I mean, for as much as I hate whenever the title is on Lesnar, just because of the fact of how little he's there, I do respect how he will sell for people when there's when the opportunity is right and everything like that. Like how well he's been making Drew McIntyre look leading up to all this stuff. Brock's a very, very smart man in that. I just hate Goldberg enough that I'm okay. I will suspend my disdain for Brock not being around with the title to see that title off the fucking waist of Goldberg. Fuck him.
That's an interesting idea though, because Vince loves the title on I almost did it. Vince loves the title on Brock Lesnar. And Vince loves the idea of Brock Lesnar being that champion, but at the same time being that attraction that only shows up every once in a while.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense that might actually happen. That on the first night or whatever, he loses that title to Mick what's his face, Irish guy. Yeah, that guy.
Mick Scottish.
Man, I can never remember his name. It makes sense for Lesnar to lose to McIntyre and then show up on the next WrestleMania broadcast. Maybe even Goldberg comes out and goes, "Hey, Roman's not here. I'm still the champion." Blah blah blah. Wham! Here comes Lesnar, and there it is.
Here's
one
thing I want. He's gonna drop it to Mac Foley.
Oh God.
Oh, Mac Foley.
I gotta
say Mac Foley's baby Mac boy.
One thing that you touched on, calling Brock a big attraction. I wonder though, like I know to some degree it still works, but I gotta wonder though, in this day and age, like how well that goes over. Like back in the territory days, that worked. People were, you had people like Abdullah the Butcher and stuff like that were big attractions. When they kind of overstayed their welcome in one territory, they moved to another. But now with how big and how connected everything is with social media, like, do you feel that has as big of an effect? I know it has a big effect, but do you feel like it's how it was back then, or do you feel it's like a little watered down just because we have access to everything? Like if people have never seen a Brock Lesnar match, you could literally go binge watch like 3 hours worth of Brock Lesnar shit on the WWE network. So does it make it not as special because of how everything is connected with social media and stuff and the accessibility? And where did Beef go? There he is.
Oh, the Lord Wellington has returned.
Beef.
Yeah, we're having some fucking awful connection issues tonight on Discord, so I'm trying to see if maybe I can stop that from happening, because you guys are getting all robot-y up in here, so...
Oh, okay. Well, that's on your end, so finally your Walmart connection's all fucking up.
I don't know. I think it's a completely different scenario than the old... I think it's completely different, but I think Brock Lesnar is still, in this day, even if you can go back and hours of matches, I think he's still that attraction, especially to the live crowds. And that'll all pick back up once this is blown over. But, I think Brock Lesnar is still that big, every once in a while attraction. And, I think it's you can see that in the crowd reactions. Because every time he shows up to wrestle, it doesn't matter if he's a heel or a face, man. He gets that big pop. Like, you don't have, the silent crowds when he comes out. People aren't tired of him. People love to see Brock Lesnar come out and steamroll through someone and leave.
I mean, yes, and I think also no. I think people... I really think the general public does not like seeing a part-time champion.
Yeah. And
I think that makes his title defenses, though, even that more special. Because if you've got a guy who is defending his title on every pay-per-view, not to say that it loses its shine, but I think it's more of an attraction whenever you have this guy go, 3-4 pay-per-views without being there, and then all of a sudden he goes up to defend his title. Like, that seems like a bigger deal.
I guess it really all depends on the perspective of how you're approaching it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the perspective of, the fighting champion, like, okay, let's look at it this way. Either way, somebody being a fighting champion, whether they're a face or a heel, if they're a face, it gives them more credibility, and they're gung-ho, white-faced baby meat American hero, because I'm a fighting champion and I'll defend my title everywhere against everybody. Look at how it worked for Kofi, until it didn't. Or, in the eyes of the heel, or, perspective from a heel, say you have somebody that's there defending it all the time, and you're just like, this has got to be the time. Somebody's got to fucking knock this dude off his pedestal. Like, people are going to pay money to see this person get their ass handed to them. And when they don't, and it makes them more irate and it draws more heat to that heel, and you get a bigger reaction, and you just keep perpetuating that until, obviously you're ready to make that title change, or until the heel starts losing some of that heel heat. So it just depends on how you want to approach it. Do you want to approach it as, a fighting champion, or do you want to approach it as an attraction, which is a bigger deal? It's 6 one way, half a dozen the other, honestly, I think.
So, Beef, wasn't there a topic that you wanted to bring up that you mentioned in the chat? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was just about, WrestleManias of the ghost of WrestleManias past, some fond or less than fond memories that we have about WrestleMania, because, like it or hate it, this year's WrestleMania is going to be memorable for a number of different reasons.
I can't say for all the for all the wrong or right reasons, for reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually literally just read a tweet that was and I forget who it was, like a wrestle sheet or something, one of the many piggybacks that the IWC have for wrestling, but they retweeted their own tweet about, remember this tweet about saying that many talents wanted WrestleMania postponed. They just retweeted that today. So, and they claim they have insider knowledge or whatever. So, I think the prevailing opinion is that this particular WrestleMania may be doomed from the start, because it seems like the talent don't want to do it, and the only one who wants to do it is Big Vinnie Mac. So, but all of that notwithstanding, obviously, we're gonna remember this year's WrestleMania for a long time to come. So what stands out to you guys as your favorite moment in any WrestleMania past, or even I guess more importantly, what is the least memorable moment, or your least favorite thing that you can remember about WrestleMania?
Wait, hold on, say that again. You want our most and least, or just least?
Yes, both.
Okay.
You want to start us off, Beef?
Don't everybody jump at once.
I'll go. I know there's always there's the classic ones like the Iron Man match and stuff like that really stand out. But for me, where I would say I really don't have a least memorable one, but I would say my most. And forgive me, I'm gonna forget which WrestleMania number it was. The one where Flair got retired by Michaels.
24.
Thank you. Because it was that match. I'm man enough to admit that I cried at the end of that match because that is emotional investment 101 right there. Like the way they produced everything, the way they cut to Sean when you saw him say, "I'm sorry, I love you," and then puts the old man out of his misery. Oh my God. Like that, like you cannot, like that's Hollywood freaking camera directing, producing, like everything. That was just like, that was pitch perfect. Also, besides that moment, that match with Edge versus Undertaker, title versus the streak. And this was before, like, I mean, I've been a lifelong fan, but I don't think I was I don't think I was so much of a smart mark at that point. And I was sitting there with one of my exes. We were watching. I was cheering Edge. She was cheering Undertaker. And we were literally sitting there, like, shaking each other by the arms, like, oh my God! Like, get back and forth, like, emotional fucking roller coaster. Those two matches, I don't think I've ever been more emotionally invested in my life. Those stand out to me. I don't think I'll ever forget those matches. Like, they were so well done. And just that's probably one of my best WrestleMania memories there.
Ransom? And let me let me kind of clarify a little bit. I'm not necessarily talking about like your least memorable thing. Maybe the most disappointing, and that can come from like the eyes of a guy who like idolized the wrestler and didn't want to see them go. That can come as like the eyes of a fan who maybe didn't want to admit that it was fake at the time. Like that can come as anything, you know.
I can give you a most disappointed. Whenever I was going back and watching some WrestleMania of old, and I saw Limp Bizkit named as like the band of WrestleMania, I'm just like, why? Just fucking trash fire. Why?
Oh, Fred Durst, he's the worst.
Yep, Durst the worst.
That's funny because that was probably I think that's WrestleMania 19 that they played like 3 times, but that's probably like the best WrestleMania of all time, or at least top 3 for me.
With an asterisk.
I think the most disappointing one for me, and it has nothing to do with the quality or caliber of the match. I think the match was good, but I can't remember which WrestleMania it was. Maybe it might have been 18 or 19. I don't think it was 20. I can't remember. It was Austin's last match against The Rock.
Mm.
Which one was that, Beef? Was that 19?
Yes.
Because that was Hollywood heel The Rock. Yep. I thought the match was good. I would, happily go back and rewatch that match again. It was just the fact that was Austin's last match. You knew he was going out, and I was disappointed in that just because I love Steve Austin so much. He was such a great in-ring performer. He was such a great character, and I to this day definitely miss Stone Cold. My best one, and this is me being a Shawn Michaels mark, and this one is considered by a lot, and even by the performers that were in the match, is not the greatest match, was 14, Michaels versus Austin. And
with DX?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that match just because, and there's, of course, rumor and speculation that Shawn Michaels was faking a back injury, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that to be true. There are some people that said, he did a kip up in that match, and he took that big nasty bump, upside down on the turnbuckle, and he would fly off the turnbuckle and do the elbow drop. His back wasn't as bad as he made it out to be, blah, blah, blah. Either Shawn Michaels is an amazing actor, that would have to be the case, because you could see from the get-go of that match, you could see the pain and the anguish on his face as he wrestled Steve Austin, and he tried to be the showstopper. Shawn Michaels has always said, he didn't want to come back after that injury because he didn't feel like he could be the old Shawn Michaels, and he didn't want to underperform in front of the crowd. And it took a lot for him to work up the ability to say, yes, I'll come back. But I love that match just because you could see the pain on Shawn's face having to wrestle through that back injury and how much pain and anguish he was in. He was leaning on the rope, struggling to stand up straight at different parts in that match.
That was the match where he said into the thing, "What are you doing? Get the fuck out of my way!" to a cameraman. Was
that it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he wasn't in the best. I don't think he was in the best mental or emotional state at that point. Just because I think he thought that he was completely done because of his back. But I love that match. I loved seeing Shawn Michaels persevere through that entire match. And even though he didn't win at the end, my God, I have so much more respect for him, especially later on in my wrestling career, going back and rewatching that match, just seeing the pain he was in, and he fought through it. He fought through it and he gave Steve Austin everything that he had to put Steve Austin over in that match. And, man, I feel my heart breaks for him, and that's I don't know, maybe that's a stupid thing or a pussy thing to say. My God, my heart broke for him, and seeing the pain that he was in. But my God, I loved that one. That was a great match. What about you, Poop?
For me, honestly, and this is something that I've mentioned before in previous podcasts and everything, but honestly, it's WrestleMania 12, the Iron Man match, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Because for me, that's one of the most memorable WrestleMania moments, not because it's a cliche and it's something that's noted, but because that was the first WrestleMania I ever saw, and that whole WrestleMania, punctuated with that match, was what made me go, holy shit, wrestling is really awesome. I liked wrestling before, but I was like, this is incredible. The feeling when Shawn Michaels won that belt, I'll never forget it. I remember sitting on my floor watching my old, tube projection, floor console TV with putting the tape in the VCR and watching it. I'm never going to forget the feeling I had when Shawn won. And it was old at that point. It was older at that point. But I was just holy, I was so excited the whole time. So for me, that's the one that sticks out amongst. The most disappointing one, or one that stands out as a whoa, holy fuck. And I could be mistaken this, but I'm pretty sure it was WrestleMania when Brock Lesnar attempted the shooting star press and landed on his neck.
Kurt Angle.
That was definitely WrestleMania.
Kurt Angle asked him.
Again, that was probably the best WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 19. That's funny. Go ahead.
WrestleMania 19, I remember watching that. And that match at the time when we were all watching it, we were kind of chatting with each other and during that match. And then someone literally got the attention of the room and was like, yo, Brock Lesnar's going to the top rope. And we were all like, excuse me? And we stopped and we watched. And little did we know that Brock Lesnar used to have the shooting star press as one of his signature moves. But I'm never going to forget the moment whenever he did that. And it went sideways. And when he landed on his head, that moment when he impacted, the noise in the room, all of us in tandem made the exact same noise. We went, oh! It was
I thought for sure he broke his neck.
And I immediately was like, I just watched a man get paralyzed. I watched a man die. Literally those two things went through my head. And the reason that I bring that up for this is because now, fortunately, Brock Lesnar was fine because that man is made out of iron and, unobtainium. like he was fine because that man's torso is his neck. Like
He's the vibranium man.
Like seriously, if Brock Lesnar wasn't the person he was, he'd be dead. I really believe that.
I think that impact on the shooting star press hurt the ring more than it hurt Brock Lesnar.
Well, let's not go that far, but like seriously, it was bad. And like, you know, at the time, because of the temperament of the crowd, everyone was like, you fucked up, ha 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 ha, what are you doing, Brock Lesnar? Oh, it's ridiculous. You know, because it wasn't as, you know, the whole thing of his like indie work wasn't as widespread at the time because the internet wasn't as deep as it is now. But like watching that moment, it sent I remember that feeling as vividly as I do with WrestleMania 12, the Shawn Michaels Iron Man match, like Bret Hart Iron Man match. Like I remember that feeling of fear and that worry for someone I don't know. And objectively, if he did get paralyzed or died, how would it affect my life other than, you know, oh, would a wrestler be dead? And I understand that's cold, but I'm trying to put this in perspective. I cared. And I was like, you know, for another person. And it's like seeing a moment that now we can look back on and see as a moment in history. But at the time, it was like this, like, quote unquote, come to Jesus moment. You know what I mean? It's that watching someone and go, oh, fuck, these guys are human. Because we tend to forget that time to time. Where we forget that these guys are flesh and blood. They're human beings with worries and pains and concerns and fears and lives outside of that squared circle. And all at once, in one fell swoop, everyone in that arena and everyone watching around the world went, oh shit, Brock Lesnar's hurt. Like, I'm never going to forget that as like one of the scariest, like, moments, like, and low points for WrestleManias.
What about you, Beef?
So I've been wrestling, no pun intended, with this all day. So I have two that are kind of like high spots
guys,
for
BRB,
me.
I'm sorry about this. BRB.
Take your time.
All good. So I have two kind of high spots. One, the first is WrestleMania 13. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because it was a really good match, but that was the night of the double turn. That was the night that Bret really went over as a heel and Austin really went over as the face. That was the night of the blood from a stone t-shirt. Where Stone Cold refused to tap out. He passed out because of blood lost in the sharpshooter.
Is this your high spot or your low spot?
That's what I was about to ask.
High spot.
Okay.
High spot.
High
Okay.
spot.
Good. Okay.
Because this is when a star was born. Like, yes, you know, when Austin beat HBK at WrestleMania 14, it was a big deal. And that went a long way for him for sure. But I think that Bret putting over Austin the way that he did and really doing the double turn, because Bret was never comfortable being the heel, but he wanted to make this work for Austin. That really sold Steve Austin as like the baddest SOB on the planet. Like as a guy who, you know, refused to give up. He'd rather pass out in a pool of his own blood than tap out. And the fact that Ken Shamrock was there, who was legit the world's most dangerous man at that point in time, like made all the more epic. So like that at that moment, like one of the biggest stars of the business was born.
And I didn't know they weren't supposed to get color in that match.
Oh, did they weren't?
No, because that was back during the era of bleed. You know, Vince had a policy of, you know, no blood. You had to absolutely clear that. And that was a Steve and Bret thing. They said, you know, it's it won't have as big an impact if you just pass out in the sharpshooter. But if you pass out in a pool of blood and you're bleeding, that's a bigger deal. And Brett actually bladed Austin. Austin didn't blade himself in that match.
Oh, really?
They talk about that on the Stone Cold or the Broken Skull sessions that Austin did with Bret Hart.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because I never knew that. I thought it was just one of those lightning in a bottle moments where he happened to get busted open and then just made it all the more better. So
no, Brett did the favors and gave him the blade, and I guess they caught a lot of heat for it backstage because that was unscripted. Vince didn't sign off on that.
See,
they got some heat.
I didn't realize that was back in the time back then where they still needed permission for color. I didn't think that came along. I guess I wasn't aware. I didn't know. I didn't think that came along until much later in the WWE's illustrious,
I think they've gone back and forth on it, but that was definitely during
that was pre-Attitude Era. Remember, WrestleMania 13 was kind of like the ushering in of that generation.
Okay.
So, it was kind of like the tail end of like the new generation year. So things were kind of very clean cut at that point. Yeah, Vince and like the whole swearing thing. Yeah, I mean everything. It was very protected at that point.
Okay.
For my other high spot, one of the most memorable things I have is going to happen. 8 years later at WrestleMania 21, which is another moment of a star being born. I'm not talking about Batista. I'm not talking about Cena, which was both of their night as well. But at WrestleMania 21, and winning Money in the Bank went from like a solid hand in the mid card and like a career tag team wrestler to being a guy who they entrusted as a main event player and really unlocked the rest of his career. Because when he pulled down that briefcase, he never looked back. So
yeah, that really was the stepping off point for him.
What's that?
I said that really was the stepping off point for him.
So like those two incidents like stick in my mind as like times whenever a guy was made. And the most disappointing that I can remember was not one that I watched live. This was years before I became a fan. But it was a situation in which that should have happened, which was the Ultimate Challenge, WrestleMania 7. WrestleMania 6. Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. Warrior was the Intercontinental Champion. Hogan was the Heavyweight Champion. This was title for title. The first ever, I think it was the first time they ever did title for title at WrestleMania, or just in general in WWE. It never happened. So this was meant to like stamp Warrior as the guy and make him like the face of the brand moving into the 90s. And that never played out. That never became what it was supposed to be for one reason or another, whether it be, what you believe about the Warrior and telling Vince he wanted more money and this, that, and the other thing. Who knows? And we'll probably never know now that Hellwig has passed away.
I just heard the Warrior. What are we talking about?
Oh boy.
Warrior went over in that match, right?
He did. Yeah, he did. So I was saying the one of my most and probably the biggest disappointing moment I had in WrestleMania history was WrestleMania 6 in retrospect, because first of all, the match itself, it was the main event of WrestleMania. Oh boy. Like, you want to talk about two guys who plod along and really could not do much. Oh boy. Like, you can sometimes get a good match out of Hogan. You can sometimes get a good match out of Warrior. But
together, no.
together, it was like carbon copies of each other. And it was a lot of plotting, a lot of slow rest holds. And I mean, the fans were into it. Ironically, Edge was in the crowd that day, and he said that was like one of the biggest, things that made him want to become a wrestler was that match. But like, it felt like it was a very lethargic passing of the torch. It felt like, and especially going back in retrospect and knowing what happened after, it felt like Vince was saying, "Okay, Hogan, you're on your way out. You have to put this guy over." And it felt like Vince was saying, "Okay, Jim, you're the new guy. You need to go over." And both guys were very kind of nonplussed, not receptive to it. And it just, the match didn't work. The result didn't work. And obviously, Warrior dropped the title to Sergeant Slaughter like at SummerSlam that year, and then Hogan won it back at WrestleMania the next year. So, the whole passing of the torch moment never happened. The whole, this is how you make a big star never happened. Even though they did everything in their eyes that was right, it just did not work. So to me, that was one of the most disappointing things I can remember in WrestleMania history.
Yeah, that's definitely one of them. What a botch that was.
Yeah, dude. All right, you guys want to go on and do some Hout Tag trivia?
I have nothing prepared for it, so I mean, you can go ahead.
I want to ask the beefer for this one.
I want to ask the ransom for this one.
Oh,
well, then I guess I'll ask Poot.
All right, yeah, bye, Tom. Tom's the judge.
I am.
In case there's an answer that's like, is that Tom can be the judge.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Who wants to kick it off?
I will. So, Luna Vachon, we know her, we love her.
Let's not say things we can't say.
She had a 22-year career, and I'm sorry, at certain points,
I'm just joking.
At certain points in her career, whenever she was younger, attractive. Luna Vachon from 1994 to 2006 was married to another professional wrestler. Ransom, who was that professional wrestler?
She was married
to a professional wrestler.
What were the years again, did you say?
1994 to 2006.
Oh, can you give me any hints?
I mean, he was a noteworthy member of a group in the Attitude Era.
Oh, damn.
Nope.
Beef, hush.
I don't know. I have no idea who it is.
Can you give me anything else?
Nope.
Oh, I have no idea. Member.
Feel it in your blood, in your bones. Come on, buddy.
Was that a hint?
No, it was just me rambling.
Bones.
It was day drinking Poot rambling.
Okay. Noteworthy member of a stable in the Attitude Era. Oh, Lord, there were a lot of stables in the Attitude Era, weren't there?
Yeah, there were, boy.
Oh, son of a bitch. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I can't think of anything just off of that.
No idea?
No, I don't, huh?
All right, cool. Well, then I'm just going to throw it out there. She was married to David William Heath, otherwise known as
Gangrel.
Gangrel.
Really?
Huh.
Yep, 94 to 2006.
No, I had
the longest
no
marriage
idea.
Gangrel had.
And now, what? I don't know if he's still doing it, but after he got done with WWE, didn't he go and like direct porn or something?
Yes, he did. He
Yep.
directed
Oh.
a couple backdoor sluts kind of things.
Back to Sluts Live.
By the way,
Oh.
Gangrel, his other ring names. You ready for this? I'm going to rattle them off. Claire Drive Ripper, the Avante Roller, the Black Phantom, Crazy Dave, Dave Heath, the Druid, property formerly of Dr. Wolf, Gangrel, Lestat.
Hold on, I love the question. I love the question inflection there.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird. Lestat the Vampire, which I think is kind of cool. The Master, the Warlock, the Vampire Warrior, and the Other Side of Darkness.
What a weird dude.
Property formerly of Dr. Wolf might be my favorite one.
Who was Dr. Wolf?
Yeah, who knows? Fuck it.
Oh, my.
Dr. Worm.
There's a houseboat involved.
So now there's a wrestler involved.
Okay, Beef. Mine for you is surrounding the Elimination Chamber.
Ooh.
Traditionally, the Elimination Chamber started out as for the World Heavyweight title, and then the WWE title would later get involved. What number Elimination Chamber was it where first Elimination Chamber, which number Elimination Chamber was it that neither the World or the WWE title was defended in? So what Elimination Chamber number was it? And what, if any, title was defended in it?
Okay, my connection is shit, so I apologize. But I think the question is, in what sequence, what number sequentially, Elimination Chamber was the first one to not have WWE or the world title involved, and 2, what was the stakes involved? So what title what was it for, if any?
Yeah, what title, if any? Yes, correct.
Okay. So.
Is he dead?
Sorry,
Am I dead?
I'm thinking. I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
The one that sticks in my brain is the one that was for the Intercontinental title that Ryback won. And that feels really late in the game, but the Elimination Chamber was always a big fucking deal. The only question in my mind was, because there was one that contained, that was for the tag team titles as well, about 5 years ago, and I don't know if that came before or after that one. So, as far as the number goes, I'd say probably the 25th, and I would go with that match where Ryback won the Intercontinental title in the Elimination Chamber.
Wrong on both counts. It was the 18th Elimination Chamber, and it was for the WWE Tag Team Championship.
Shit.
Now, for bonus, can you tell me what team won the title in that match? And who were the team participants?
The Lucha Dragons were in it for sure. They're the only ones that I remember because Kalisto or Sin Cara, one of the two of them, had this crazy spot where they were hanging up on top of I think it was Kalisto, where he was hanging up on top of the cage for 5 minutes. He crawled up to the top of the dome and was just kind of hanging out up there, just waiting for a spot. I thought maybe he was getting cold feet. So if the Lucha Dragons were in it, that would put it right around the turning of the first kind of crop out of NXT. So I think that the Usos were probably involved. I'm betting the New Day. Maybe not the New Day. Usos, Lucha Dragons. the Vaudevillains, maybe? No, it's still too early for them because they didn't come up until like when Enzo and Cass came up. So Lucha Dragons, Usos. I'll say the Ascension. And that's all I got.
Who won?
Oh fuck! Not the Lucha Brothers, or not? Yeah, not the Lucha Dragons. That's for
Definitely
sure.
not the Lucha Brothers either.
Yeah, too.
Well, you were right on that. The Lucha Brothers did not win.
The Usos.
I gotta stop looking. I gotta stop leaving my Discord up because Poot's fucking gifts are ridiculous. I almost broke just now.
Well, you're partially right. Partially right on the people that were in it, not right on the winners. The teams were Los Matadores,
Wow,
Lucha Dragons, the Ascension, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro back when they were a team, the Primetime Players,
Yeah.
and the New Day.
God damn! What a rogues
The New Day
gallery.
went in as champions and left as champions.
That honestly, with the exception of New Day, Primetime Players, and Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, that whole the whole gamut of other teams is like super meh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And poor Cesaro, he's been bounced in and out of random ass tag teams more than I can't even think of an analogy, but poor Cesaro, just in random ass tag team one after another. And they finally struck gold with the damn what were they called? The Bar.
The Bar.
Yeah.
No,
Might
yeah,
be
for
yours
sure.
to Poot.
All right, so Poot.
All right. Yeah.
I recently talked about one of my, probably the biggest WrestleMania high point I could think of was Austin Hart at WrestleMania 13.
Right.
A Star is Born. So WrestleMania 13 is where my question lies. I have two questions for you. Austin Hart was not the main event of the pay-per-view, although some thought it should have been.
It absolutely should have been.
Yes.
Looking back with with rose-colored glasses, it should have been 100%. What was the main event of WrestleMania 13? Who were the combatants, and what were the stakes in place?
Oh, geez, that's an easy one. That's Undertaker Sid no DQ for the title.
Nice.
That's absolutely. You want to know why I know that so quick?
Why?
Because I recently watched the Stone Cold interview with Bret Hart, and they went over that match, and they talked about the event, and I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know that.
What you may not remember is there was also an Intercontinental title match on the show. Who was in that match?
I feel like I should know that.
Wasn't that Rocky? Wasn't Rocky in it? The Rock?
I don't know. Was he?
I feel like it was The Rock, but I can't remember who he faced.
It was The Rock. Well, it was Rocky Maivia.
I don't got it. I'm not even gonna fake it. Like I feel like it was The Rock, but
you're right. It was The Rock. Well, it was pre The Rock. It was Rocky Maivia in his Rocky Die days.
Oh, poor The Rock.
Oh, yeah, white face baby meat days.
Can you give a hint on who he faced?
Yes.
I just watched this pay-per-view not too long ago, and I feel like I should know that.
Let Ransom take the rest of it.
He was the Intercontinental Champion, and he defended it against this Hall of Famer.
If Ransom doesn't get it, can I take a stab?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, he defended against a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look it up since I'm out of the running on this.
Okay.
Any other hints?
Yep. Much like Rocky Maivia, this future Hall of Famer was also in a cocoon phase, as he were, and that would not be his final form either.
Not his final. Oh! That was Rikishi. What the hell was he? Who was he? Because he had Backlund and he had Backlund and the Sheik with him. It was for frick's sake, what was his name? Tom, help me out. Who was Rikishi? Before he was Rikishi.
Was he part?
He was a head shrinker.
Was that whatever he was in 3-minute warning, or was that somebody else?
No, you're thinking
else.
either Rosie or Jamal.
Yeah.
My God. Oh, for frick's sake, what the hell?
That always tickles me when that comes up because someone says, "Ooh, Maga," and then the conversation goes off and the beef goes, "Umanga."
Umanga.
Poor William Regal. Oh, he was that Arabian. The Sultan.
He was in fact the Sultan, and it was
What
in
a
fact
terrible
Rikishi.
gimmick. What a terrible gimmick.
To quote Shiki, baby, fucking bullshit.
Fucking Hulk Hogan, I break you, I humble you.
By the way,
sucker the dick.
Fun to bring us back down to earth. Fun fact: 82,000 cases of corona reported in the U.S.
Yep.
I think the last I saw was like 88, wasn't it? Maybe I read something different.
No, it's 82.
I normally don't watch the news just because I can't stand all the fucking everything about it. And I'm definitely not like a morning show person, but I did happen to turn on like the Today Show, and the little ticker on the bottom, I wish I would have recorded it or like taken pictures. But dude, the amount of cases there were just in southwestern PA alone, I'm like, holy fuck balls. Like it broke it down by county, like Allegheny, Mercer County, Armstrong, and stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm just like, Jesus, jumped up Christ on a communion wafer. My God. It's insane.
Beef, do we have time for a Stump the Chumps?
Yeah, let's knock it out.
Yeah, we always got time for a Stump the Chump.
Well, let's knock it out, and then we'll tie it up in a nice little burrito.
Yeah. All right. So this comes from our friend in West by God, Virginia, the Maniac. So sorry if I insulted you and your people, Mr. Maniac.
He's not sorry.
I'm not
talking
sorry.
about the hell folk of West Virginia. You, of course, are not included in that.
Yeah, you are.
So, at WrestleMania 10, there was a scheduled 10-man tag match that never happened due to the tag team due to the IC ladder match running over. Who were the 10 men scheduled to participate?
Fuck, no way.
Wait, what? What?
There was a 10-man tag team match on the card for WrestleMania 10 that got bumped due to the IC title match running long. What title match?
Oh,
what 10-man tag match? Who was in it?
Was it a match that was actually like announced on the card and then just never
I believe
happened?
so.
It was.
Okay.
This was like one of the first big, like, well-known, like, breaks of like, oh, okay, we're gonna advertise this, we're gonna advertise it, and it
like,
never happened.
Card subject to
yes, card
exactly.
subject to
change.
change.
Yeah.
So it definitely was not meant on a mission because they were in a tag team title match and they did not win, which bummed me out. I remember that.
Was that when they fought the Quebecers? Was that the Quebecers?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it was on a mission Quebecers. I think.
I think you're right.
That would be that same time frame. So we can eliminate those two teams.
Let's think about the oddballs, the mid-carders.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna throw two teams out immediately: Steiners and the Head Shrinkers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
because they had a tilt at WrestleMania 9.
I'm gonna go with that too. Yeah, I was gonna say Steiners because they debuted at WrestleMania 9, so they were still in that precipice of like they weren't like they didn't come in and go right out the door. They were there for a cup of coffee at least.
Well, I'm gonna throw out the Guns.
Yeah,
the Smoking Guns.
Yep.
Who was yours, Beef?
The Steiners and the Head Shrinkers. I keep on calling them the Usos. The Head Shrinkers.
So one of mine.
Head Shrinkers. Yeah, because they weren't on that show. And neither were the Guns.
I'm going to throw out the Guns.
Was Adam Baum? Adam Baum was at WrestleMania 10. I think he faced Ludwig Borga, right? I think somebody asked that not too long ago.
Yes.
So because this is clearly a thing. Well, I shouldn't say clearly, but this this feels like a thing where it's like 4 tag teams and 2 singles.
What about Bob Holly?
He wasn't on that pay-per-view, so he might have been in it.
Not as Bob Holly at that
Plug
time,
days.
but it was Sparky Plug, yeah.
Yeah, Bob.
Okay, I could see the Steiners, the Guns, and Sparky Plug facing a team of the Head Shrinkers, and
I mean, what heels were there at the time that wouldn't have been on a match? Like
Ludwig Borga.
But Ludwig Borga was.
Yeah, he had his own thing going on.
Heels.
Was the $1 Million Corporation a thing at this point?
No, it was past that.
But this was before.
No, it wouldn't be past that because
this was before.
Yeah,
was this before Shyster jumped?
He was still in WWF at the time.
I mean, so the $1 Million Corporation went like through like WrestleMania 13 or 12 or 13 or so because it was like DiBiase, IRS, Tatanka, King Kong Bundy, Fake Undertaker,
Faker
Kamala,
Taker.
or not Kamala.
I was just about to. Great minds think alike because I was about to call him Faker Taker, and then I was like, no, Under Faker.
Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, and Nikolai Volkov. So I think it was a little bit too early for them because they were So the main event of WrestleMania 11 was Bam Bam versus
why are you going to
LT.
Why are you going to 11? Like bring it back,
because Bam Bam was part because Bam Bam was part of the $1 Million Corporation.
Yeah, but the $1 Million Corporation wasn't founded at this time though. Like this, I don't remember the $1 Million Corporation being a thing at this WrestleMania.
So could we throw Bam Bam into that match for WrestleMania 10?
He may not have. Well, oh gosh.
I think he wrestled in a different match though.
You think?
Like I don't think he was. I want to say IRS. IRS was on the heel team.
Yeah, that's
that makes sense.
Shyster. So right now we have
so he may have been the singles guy.
So right now we have Head Shrinkers, Guns, Sparky Plug, Erwin R. Shyster. So that's 2
and the Steiners.
4.
So the face team was probably.
I think the Steiners. I don't think it was the Steiners.
I think the Steiners were gone by this point.
I don't think they were. I think they were still there.
When was 10? 95, 96?
They still.
Well, keep in mind that like Tom said, WrestleMania 9 was their first WrestleMania.
And that was their date. Wasn't that their date? Wasn't that their debut altogether?
Yeah, but they weren't.
I don't remember
the Fed.
Steiner Line.
They weren't, but I feel like
it was at least a year.
Yeah, they were there at least a year.
I'm 100% comfortable saying that the face team was probably the Guns, the Steiners, and Sparky.
Yeah.
And the heels were probably IRS, the Shrinkers, and somebody else. I just don't know who the other heel team would be.
I don't think that the Steiners were on the face team because X-Pac was still in WWEF at the time, and he wasn't on this WrestleMania.
The kid's
You're right,
good
the
call.
kid. Yeah,
he was a face, so
yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to put him on the face team since he wasn't on this WrestleMania. He was still employed at WWE at the time. I can't remember if maybe he was hurt or I don't know, but he wasn't on this show.
I know I'm going to be bastardized for this, but which ladder match was it that ran over? Was that
Michaels Ramon?
Okay, I was going to say, was that one or was it Michaels Hart? I couldn't remember which one.
No, it was Michaels Ramon.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because Michaels Hart wasn't at a WrestleMania. It was at a fucking... Okay.
Like a house show.
So, okay, I had a brain fart. I'm sorry.
I want to say that the Heavenly Bodies were involved too. Like a Cornet team was there. So either like the Heavenly Bodies or like the Midnight Express or something.
The Bodies are a good call.
I'd say Heavenly Bodies.
What about Jarrett? Jarrett would have been on that heel team.
Jarrett's a really good call.
How about Head Shrinkers, Heavenly Bodies, and Jarrett?
We're thinking.
Yeah, that sounds a lot more right than IRS.
So you're saying.
I don't think the Heavenly Bodies were supposed to have been in it.
I don't know, man.
I remember them doing a promo.
So on the heel team, if we don't include the Heavenly Bodies right now, we have the Head Shrinkers, Shyster, and Jarrett. You threw out Jarrett.
Potentially.
So that's 4. We need one more.
Okay, so who was in WWE at the time? Who was a heel? Wasn't on the show.
I still really believe that it was probably 2 or like 4 tag teams and 2 singles. It may have been like 3 singles in a tag team on each side.
I feel like
there were only 2 official tag teams involved.
Okay.
Yeah, one heel and one face. Yeah.
Probably the Guns and the Head Shrinkers then. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go with that.
All right.
All right. So let's hold on. Let's do.
Okay.
Let's do the faces.
Okay. Smoking Guns.
So we've got the Guns, X-Pac.
Yeah.
Sparky Plug.
Yeah.
And that leaves one person.
Who's the oddball man?
Duke Drosy?
No.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan? I don't know.
No, it wouldn't be Duggan.
I know.
Tatanka? Did somebody say Tatanka earlier?
We didn't say him yet.
Tatanka's a good call.
You were saying he was in the $1 Million Corporation.
Right,
well,
but I know I
keep saying that's a good call, but wouldn't he have been? We said this is before the $1 Million Corporation.
Right.
When he was a face still.
When he was still a face, yeah.
And at WrestleMania 9, I mean, he was pretty over. He was,
he was really.
So I'm confident I'm good with saying Tatanka, Smoking Guns, X-Pac / 1-2-3 Kid, whatever, and Bob Sparkplug Holly as the face team.
Okay, let's lock our faces in now.
All right. So the heels we had IRS, the Head Shrinkers, and Jarrett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So who would have been another heel?
Repo Man?
No.
I don't think he would have been that high up on the.
And you know what? Now that we're saying it, if IRS is involved, I feel like Tatanka is definitely a good call on the face team because they did have a good little back and forth rivalry before they turned Tatanka into and had him join.
Stick with me on this. What about Rick Martel?
Ooh, yeah. Yes.
He was a heel.
I mean, but that was pretty late for Rick Martel, man. That was like basically on the precipice of the new generation, and he was basically
wasn't Rick Martel wasn't he even involved in the Royal Rumble in '98?
Probably like
Rick Martel was
97, I think, maybe, but
he's probably one of those ones that they kept around as like a utility guy.
Yeah,
right. So
he was the model, right? That was the model.
Yeah,
the model, Rick Martel.
Yeah, he had that spray thing of arrogance.
Yeah,
man.
I like Rick Martel as an answer.
I like that. So Rick Martel, IRS, the Head Shrinkers, and Jarrett.
And I will begrudgingly say okay because I still think it may have been King Kong Bundy, but yeah.
I don't think it was Bundy. I think Bundy was gone by that point.
Wasn't he gone by then?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was gone by that point.
No, King Kong Bundy was patient. Like that I can fucking tell you for sure.
Wait, but you
said he was what?
He was part of the $1 Million Corporation. And like I said, by WrestleMania 12, they were in full swing whenever Bam Bam faced LT. because LT had his football stars with him, and Bam Bam had the $1 Million Corporation.
Okay.
So, to me, like, this may have been like a burgeoning kind of thing where it was just beginning. So if Shyster was out there, there's a good chance it may have been someone like Bundy. That's why I'm saying that. Because to me, like, Rick the Model Martel, he wasn't involved in WrestleMania 9. And, like, he was involved in WrestleMania 8 and prior.
I don't think Bundy, man. I'm gonna stand by Martel.
All right, so let's go with that.
I can't decide between the two. I want to say it's either Martel or Bundy. But
yeah.
I can't think of which one of the two it would be.
I'm standing by Martel.
I'll go with Martel because Poot has a way of getting these like pulled out of his ass. So
he's true.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. So let's see what the answer is.
All right. So, and just to recap our answer. So we have the face team as the 1, 2, 3 Kid, Tatanka, and the Smoking Guns and Sparky Plug.
Yep.
Versus the Head Shrinkers, IRS, Jeff Jarrett, and Rick Martel.
Correct.
Yes. So we're going with Martel and not Bundy.
Yes.
Apparently.
Okay.
Some little tidbit from the mid-card from Maniac here. This was actually his introduction to wrestling. Saw two guys in 5th grade with a wrestling magazine and it got me interested. Anyway, the answer is IRS, the Head Shrinkers, Rick Martel, Jeff Jarrett, son of a bitch, the Smoking Guns, 1, 2, 3 Kid, Bob Harley, and Tatanka.
Did we get it?
We could.
Yeah,
we fucking nailed it.
Fucking day.
100%.
My
wow.
God. Wow.
Good job, old Pooter. Good job, Poot.
Rick Martel.
I am way too excited about this, but man,
dude,
I'm as excited as the latest GIF in the Discord. If Ransom and Beef haven't seen it, go look at it.
Yo,
that is 10 out of 10.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
Good job, everybody.
Oh, Brock explosion.
We nailed that shit. What a way to end the podcast.
Wow.
Fucking A.
What a way to end the podcast.
It's not easy to stump this group of chumps there, Maniac.
Yeah, try harder, Pat.
And that was a toughie.
That was a real toughie, but we fucking workshopped it hard.
Yeah, we did.
Well, hey, between the four of us, we have one big fucking brain.
Goddamn right we do. All right.
Hey, real quick. You mind if I'll thank the sponsors and then somebody take us out?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, hey, real quick, we want to thank Sean Tischler with all the work he does with IWC, bringing the IWC to the people in Clearfield. Keep looking on the IWC Facebook group. IWC Clearfield is the group page there. See if and when we get back to business as usual or not with everything going on with that. And then we want to thank Casual Gaming Dad and his corner over on Facebook. Check him out there on YouTube and over on Twitch, Casual Gaming Dad 84. Go buy the P3 merchandise over at his section of the shop in Gould Gaming. And don't forget to use the promo codes. Save yourself a little bit of scratch in these tough times. Gentlemen.
What are the promo codes again?
Yes, the promo codes. Quarantine will save you 25% off apparel. And Quarantine and Stream, which it's the and sign, not the word spelled out. Quarantine and Stream, 25% off a streamer exclusive merchandise. So pretty much if you're going to get a P3 shirt or anything from Casual Gaming Dad's section, Quarantine and Stream, 25%. Do it. Do it.
Well,
do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the P3 podcast. For Mr. Tiger Bomb Tom, Beef the Legend, Alec Ransom, and your reigning, defending,
preach it,
undisputed,
testify,
chooserweight champion, Poot the Bard, baby. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And hey, don't touch your face, wash your hands, and stay away from people. Motherfuckers!